right? So then it's trying to go back and go, okay, well, how do we address this issue and how can we make this better?
However, I will say I hated spending time with my family when I was only thinking about.
Welcome back to Movified. I am your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. And it is Movified Wednesdays.
Another nighttime episode.
Another nighttime episode. Welcome, Stephen Reed, ReadyRolls.com, and Big League Movers. What is going on? I feel like I just saw you, but it's been already a couple of weeks. It's like life goes so fast.
It does. It goes fast forward. And as you know, after we had a lot of fun at the ATA conference in Nashville, I cut over and did my family trip to Gatlinburg in the Smoky Mountains. So I'm just getting back today from the ATA conference, pretty much.
So where is Gatlinburg?
Gatlinburg's in Tennessee, east side of Tennessee, so the other side of the state. It's about 7 hours from here. Memphis.
Wow. Drove all the way out there?
Oh yeah, we drove out there. Took the kids. It's the furthest they've ever rode. But after we had a 24-hour airport experience, so I thought they were ready. And
how was that experience? That's 7 hours. Like, you better make sure you have enough tablets charged and ready to go.
Super tablets. We downloaded some things. They were ready to go. They took a nap. We left early. It was nice. Good. It was good. They did really, really well on that side.
That nap time on the car ride, you just have to cherish. You're like, all right, are we good for gas? Are we fully charged? Like, we're not stopping. Like,
how long? Yeah, how long do we go?
How long do we got?
But that's something I do for our listeners that don't know, and Mark knows, but every quarter I have a trip. I have a Christmas trip, I have spring break, I have fall break, and then I have a summer week where I shut off. I don't talk to even him. I don't talk to Brian. I don't talk to my Elaine at the office. I talk to Chris. Talk to Mary Chris a lot. But that's about it on that side.
So let's deep dive onto this one, because I find it very interesting. The first time I even heard about this idea of, as a business owner, to turn everything off and just go black was from Brian Scudamore from When Hater Got Junk. And he'd always post on LinkedIn about his trips and how he would just turn everything off. He wouldn't even like take his cell phone. He put on airplane mode, like leave it in like a drawer, and just completely separate himself from the social media aspect of it, the business aspect of it, all of it, and focus, whether it's on just himself or it's always a family trip. And then what was even more interesting is recently I was watching a clip from Tommy Mello interviewing Andy Elliott. And Andy Elliott and his wife were actually on Tommy Mello's podcast, and I think they caught him off guard, because Andy had mentioned to them saying that we actually don't go into the office, don't do any work for 1 week, once a month. And it's strictly just for him, his wife, and his kids, whether they're, going away for that week, whether they're just at home. But he completely, just makes sure that everybody else in the office is handling it all. And that is his strict 101 time, because of traveling, and he's so busy, and he's got different events and speaking engagements. I can only imagine once you get to that certain height, as a business owner, you don't have much time. Like, you're constantly traveling.
Yeah, and when you're there, you're giving your time to somebody else too. So kind of as I've kind of gone into this, and I'm scarred a little bit, I guess, and all of us are in the moving industry, right? A little bit of never thinking this is a possibility on that side. So I live in a world of like, this is so hard to get to and such a long goal. I remember my honeymoon. I guess I'm about to do my 10-year anniversary. We're going out of town again in a couple of weeks. And so that was the first time I left my business. Like, totally, I was going to, we went to Mexico, Riviera Maya. And I remember the signal wasn't that great back then, 10 years ago, right? I guess it's,
Sure.
Everywhere has Wi-Fi better now. And it was so crazy to feel like I was out of work, but it was so nice. Like, I came back from that honeymoon. Obviously it's great. So honeymoon. But came back like for work, and I was the better boss for everybody. I had so much clarity on the way back of how I'm going to decide on things, and really just I got addicted to wanting that again, and then getting to Disney cruise, as you hear us talk about the Disney cruises, and you'll eventually go to one, Mark. I think you have it on the plan after seeing that island. But
Yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list there to check
yeah,
off for sure.
but that kind of checks you out. Like they take your phone out, same thing, and it's that feeling of like, you know what? I don't want to rush this conversation. I don't want to play on my phone. I really want to hang out with my son for hours and hours, right? And I really want to hang out with my daughter for hours and hours, and just having that focus time. And me as ADHD, right? I'm gonna be focused in whatever I'm doing at that time, right? So same thing in this, like it's really just giving them that time and they come back feeling great. I did so many trips as a business owner where everybody loses, including me, right? You make all the promises to your family, and then you make all the promises to work. I still got this, I still got this, I'm gonna do this. And man, I know there's so many times I was driving back and going, everybody lost. I completely lost this vacation. I paid a bunch of money. I worked. My family's upset. I didn't get enough work done at works. I still got it to come back to, right? And just you know the feeling we often have on that.
Give me an example.
I tried to start doing some trips before I handle it like I do now. I try to do some trips like Gulf Shores, which is the Panhandle, Gulf of America. You may have heard of.
Prayed about that recently. Yes.
Alabama, Destin area, the Panhandle, but a beautiful area. We'd go down there every year, and I'd make these plans to say, "Hey, I'll be able to have this meeting, and I'll be able to do this, and I'll be able to do this." But in reality, I didn't run that by my wife, and she has plans, and then we're looking at each other, and half of them I gotta cancel at work, half of them I gotta go do what my wife's doing, and the other half I gotta say, "Hey, this is very important for me to take," and tell my wife back. So I'd end up leaving with this feeling of everybody upset at me. And here I was, just paid a bunch of money for this very, very nice vacation that I pictured, as we all do, National Lampoon's vacation, right? That what we do as dads, and this magical trip for everybody, right? And everybody's be so grateful and happy. In reality, you're driving back home with a bunch of work, and you're nervous about it, and everybody's silent, upset at you because you were at work the whole time in your head. And that feeling, there's not much worse than it. You start just saying, "Hey, I don't want to go out of town." And so I said, "Okay, I got to figure this out." I'm so addicted to the wanting this feeling of the hyper focus on my family. I need to not give up on going on vacation. I need to figure it out for work wise.
Boy, I think you just gave me like a whole bunch of flashbacks of
I know, me too.
count,
I'm picturing all these drives home.
countless trips, countless trips. I'm almost nervous that anybody's gonna want to listen in on this and chime in and go, "Oh yeah, you remember this time and you remember that time, on
Yeah,
this
you're
trip."
nervous.
I
You're
I
nervous
know.
your son's gonna pop out of the corner.
I know.
You're like, this trip, that trip, and this trip. Yeah.
You ruined this trip.
Yeah. You were working the
Sorry,
whole
Daddy.
time. Yeah.
Well, I found as I was as Salmons was I was getting more established and we were trying to get more things fine-tuned. The difficult phone calls that were constantly coming in were usually some of the stupidity ones that you think, "Hey, our office could totally handle that. Like, why are you calling me?" Right? So then it's trying to go back and go, "Okay, well, how do we address this issue and how can we make this better?" Right? And the other issues that generally when I got that phone call was about whether it was like a claim or it was a driver issue. Like there was usually something serious. But what's interesting is when I think about those trips, that's at least 2 years ago. Like even the last trip that we were just recently on in Nashville, there wasn't one phone call from my office regarding an issue or a problem or something to resolve, and that does take time, right? I mean, I was in a Zoom meeting this morning with a bunch of young moving professionals, and a lot of those comments were coming up. I don't know how to balance my time. Oh, I'm constantly working. What do I do? As soon as Saturday hits, I'm thinking of still about work, and I don't know when to give that guideline to my better half to say, "Hey, that's enough. I don't want to hear about your moving company anymore," or stop answering the phone calls. And I you know, I think I think you're doing it very well, Stephen, when it comes down to the fact of you create those SOPs, you put the right people in place, and then you expect it to be managed. I mean, I came back from my trip and my staff goes, "Oh, when's your next trip? Are you going back? Are you going out again? Right? Why are you back?" Right? If this is, because everything is being handled efficiently in your office. So that's when you can apply it. Now,
Moving companies, referrals are the best leads, right? But communicating with customers, tracking progress, managing payouts, it's just overwhelming. That's why at Snowball, we do it all for you. And we're really good at it. In fact, in just a few months, the Snowball platform helped JK Moving generate over $200K in new revenue. We even helped New City Moving book 30 moves in a single month. If you have happy customers, we can get you referrals. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get the first 2 months on us.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Yo mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
Yeah, you want your team being like, do we need this guy? Right?
right, for sure.
Yeah. You want them laughing and be like, it's a lot easier without him, right? Uh,
They do. They
yeah.
do. They actually
Mhm.
completely make fun of me all the time. They're like, "Why are you even back?" So, but then you you get someone like my wife that will listen to this episode going, "See, this is why you don't need to be going to the office. You can just stay home and be home all the time." So,
There's a fine line. Yeah.
it's a fine line, but you know what? You just like yourself, I mean, you get into this mode, this like entrepreneur spirit mode where all you think about is work. Saturdays you think about work, Sundays you think about work. And I remember having conversations with, a couple of guys in my close circle where it's like, well, okay, well, wait a second, you're not married. Wait a second, you don't have kids, you don't have young kids. So your thought process is really just work, 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 right? Like, because you're not even, it even gets to a point where they stop thinking about family, like dinners. Oh, did I see my parents? Have I talked to my brother? Have I talked to my sister? What does that look like? Am I seeing my nephews and my nieces? It's just work. And as soon as you have that family, you know how important it is. When it's time to shut off, it's time to shut off and spend that time with your family. I mean, I would give everything up to, not want to be in the office first thing in the morning. I like spending my mornings with my children. I like being home in the evening with my kids. I like spending time with
However, I will say I hated spending time with my family when I was only thinking about working that breakfast.
for
Not I
sure.
was hated myself walking out of there. I didn't hate my family, but I hated like what dad am I that just thought about the closeouts yesterday the whole time while my kids getting ready for school, right? So there is you got to figure out how to turn it off. That's the key. Is like I had a business coach, Steve. I still do. He would tell me, "Hey, what helps turn it off on the weekend is I want you to do financials on Friday." right? I want you to go ahead and get your clarity and questions of what you're thinking about before the weekend, so you're not going into Monday with all these thoughts of what are my finances, right? And just little steps like that, I had to work at it. I know you had to work at it as well, Mark, but little steps like that, I had to change around my schedule. What was I doing before breakfast with my kids? Okay, I need to change that because that's getting me to think about financials. You're seeing a cue here with where your head doesn't leave, right? That's the one thing. It's not customer service too much. There's a little bit of frustration with people bothering you with customer service. But the thing that lingers always, at least with me and other people I talk to, are financial things. Those are the things that are constantly brewing. And then your ideas come from how to fix those financial things. Right. And so handling those things before you get into the block time, if you will. And man, I use the heck. I'm an Apple guy, as you know. I wanted to be something else. I'm not fond of the Apple culture and the expensive changing out products, but I'm an Apple guy for ease of use, the whole synergy. And it's because I can go with, I can link mine. I have it. I've linked with my calendar that my phone turns off different focuses for different classifications of meetings. Also at different times when I need to focus on my family during breakfast time from 8 to 8:30. It's always, there's gonna be no notifications. There's gonna be nothing that can get me sidetracked away from that. Right. Mark, when we're talking, when I'm out at a conference with you or whatever it is, I'm the same way. There's no notifications going on. When I'm with my family, you might see me check in on Facebook to update or whatever, show a cool picture. No notifications are coming in my way. Right. So I'm able to shut out a lot by just turning off those notifications. Now, obviously, I have a lot of responsibilities. I can't just shut down that, but there's a lot of work that goes into prepping for that. And then what didn't work, when all those feelings where we come back where we're not winners, is thinking about what are some things that I could have done differently? What's something that I could do next? Is always fresh on your mind there.
Well, that goes to say, when you look at yourself, and where we both are at, in our careers and as entrepreneurs, you're gonna get those that are listening going, but I don't have that many employees. I'm not there yet. I still am dealing with guys not showing up on the day that I was trying to take off. I had a special weekend planned with my wife or with my partner, and a guy didn't show up that morning. And now I got to run over to the shop and I got to deal with this, or I'm going away for a week if that's even possible. And I have a new operations manager, but I don't fully trust him yet to manage what's happening. What would you say to someone like that that is now going, what would be the first step, right? So they're sitting down with you and they're going, Mr. Reed, what is the first step that I should be taking to to get where you are?
I think it sounds like, I'm plugging my own company here, right? But the first step is to get a VA.
100%.
100% is to have somebody that is responsible and can answer your calls, right? Represent you, check your emails, and check in with anybody, movers or anything remote, to give you information when you check in with them on vacation. So sounds like I'm plugging readyrolls.com. That's ROLES. No, but no, that is the first step. That's the VA thing was huge for me on that. And if it's not a VA, somebody key in the organization. And what you do with that person who's key, one person, whoever it may be, right? If you got to do a light and load while you're going out of town, you get a light and load. But the key is to tell that person how important this is to you before. Because if you don't say anything, you don't know what their interpretation of work and vacation is, right? And guess what? They're not thinking about anything other than you're the owner and you got to give them some answers, right? So you've got to communicate. You have to set yourself up on the stage, right? You have to say, this is what I'm working for. Hey, I am a workaholic. My team knows it. I'm a workaholic, but I'm working for this. I'm working to turn my phone off, right? I'm going to give you all I can, be available to you all the time, but I'm working for this trip coming up to where I want to focus all on my family. Right. And so they actually know Okay, that's a big deal. That's not what I assume vacation and work is for me. That's a big deal to this man. And I guess that's the first stage, is get that key person. It doesn't have to be a super expensive person, right? But get that key person to understand what you're trying to do instead of just jumping in it. Right. Instead of just jumping in and expecting everybody to read your expectations on it, as with a lot of things. I think that's the key. Kind of get you a VA, or that key person. But the main thing I always say, and I set this up with people now, so I can kind of talk through it, is you want to set up one time a day. That's it. One time a day to check in with your VA or key person, and nobody else at the organization. But everybody at the organization needs to know that you're checking in with this one person. Your phone's not going to be available any other time, but you're happy to help answer anything. You got to go through this one person. Okay. And then you have that time that's set, that you're off of it and you're on it, that you don't continue work. Right. And you have that, I do, depending on how busy I am, 30 to 45 minutes with Mary Chris. Right. In the first day, this is always key. Right, you're going to have 30 minutes. Chris, what do we got coming in here? What's in my email? What's in my messages? Is there any schedule requests, any Calendly things of that nature? She's going over the meetings I'm supposed to have internally. I get them to have one way where they're sending me a call, a Loom video, so I can check in before the day I come back. But the first day, you're always going to have whoever that key employee say nothing. Nobody's going to pass you a message, and you're going to come back to a lot of work. So this is the key day. The first day, you kind of get upset with your assistant and set expectations, right? And say, dang it. I almost cussed there. I said, dang it, Chris.
Dang it. So polite.
You know how many questions these guys give me on a regular basis, and you're telling me they have nothing, or they're just having battles they don't know, and I'm going to come back to them. If you're going to come back with nothing, I need you to check in with them and say, hey, I got to bring back Steve something that you're working on. Right. And so that is the biggest key. Don't accept defeat on day one when you don't get anybody giving you any messages or anything. That is the day you actually put your stake in the ground and say, dang it, we're going to change this. I'm not coming back to work. Right. And so day two, guess what? You're coming back. People are giving you messages and you're able to resolve things. Right.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
We recently hired Ready Rolls to help us with hiring some offshore help, some VAs, and they've done an amazing job. They found the perfect candidate for our company to fill the right role for our company. And not only that, they helped us answer any questions that we had about the process. Initially, hiring a VA can be a bit intimidating. So they answered all the questions. It's been an amazing experience. Our VA has been a huge part of our success thus far. We're actually in the process of hiring a few more right now. Definitely see them as being a key part of our growth and reaching our goals in 2025. So, the game changer for our company, I'm confident they'll be a game changer for you as well.
Visit www.readyrolls.com. There is now a better way to scale.
Now, obviously, you've built this out quite well, and everybody on your team understands that, Chris is your EA and make sure that everything kind of gets managed through that. But what were some of the challenges or the hurdles that you had where those in your leadership team turned around and says, I want to deal with Steven. Like, I'm not interested in dealing with some VA or answering the questions on there. I'm not really that interested. I just kind of want to go straight to him. These are the questions I have. Did you have this situation? Because I can only imagine some people that are on that have their management teams kind of going, why am I going through him or her when I can just message Steven directly? Now I know you put direction, they don't message me, but
I did not have that issue because I'm very blunt about what I was trying to do, right? So I always say, I know in everybody's head you're thinking he's talking about everybody but me, but guess what? There's a lot of you thinking that way, right? And so I need y'all to go through one person. And that was the main thing I communicated, but I do see that happen, that challenge happen a lot. I really recommend saying that. Maybe not in the Steve Reed blunt manner, your leadership style, but talking about, hey, I'm like me, you blame it on you as the weirdo. Hey, you know me, if you call me with something, I'm going to be thinking about that for 2 hours, and that's not why I'm doing this trip. So I'm trying to limit those thoughts that are going to take me down work lane, right? I'll come back to it. I'll double work, get you back what you need, but this is the time that's in it for me. And I have not had anybody say at my org ever that I know of that's like, I don't respect this guy's vacations. I'm working for somebody while he's on the golf course, right? I think they respect that I'm blunt about it, and we try to pay everybody else the same respect on vacations if we can. No, don't get me wrong though. If somebody doesn't set up their vacation well at all, and I'm cleaning up their mess, I will insert myself in their vacation. But I do a pretty darn good job of trying to set somebody up to not be in a mess to hand over for vacation, because at my org we have ready roles, like Elaine has one, Hoss has one, everybody kind of has an assistant, so it helps out.
Yeah, and I think that's really key to keeping yourself organized. And I mean, it's crazy. When we look back the last couple of weeks, I had a trip practically back to back, where I was only back for a full day in the office, or almost like a half day. And then
Well, Calgary. Well, you were in Calgary.
Yeah, I was in
I thought you went
in
straight from Calgary to Nashville.
I was in Calgary back for basically a one working day, and then flipped the script and headed out to Nashville. And then as soon as I came back, I went straight to my office to do a check-in, see what's happening there, have like a debrief with management, which was great because it was just, to me, I think that's always important to kind of go, okay, great, like let's have a quick, half an hour meeting, discuss any issues that happened, and some wins. Like give me some wins, give me some, some of the issues that came up, and then what's happening for the remainder of the week, or what's coming up. But I automatically turned around and had a trade show for like the next 4 days. So it was go time. But we talk about organizing the staff and how important that is. There was key people on our team that made sure everything was set up so that the moment I walked into that trade show, everything was basically ready to go. Whereas I know before, it was me running around, with my head cut off, making sure that everything was taken care of and done. And it's all about now just delegating those roles and making sure it's important to have done, right? So
You got to trust your people, and then you got to tell them why you don't trust them. Here's why I'm scared to trust you. Prove me right.
Totally.
Help this out, and this is great for us. I think every time I've had challenges on vacations with my current team, we've gotten a heck of a lot better from them, because I'm on a short line, and I'm going to actually tell you everything that's on my mind about, like, did you really need me? And I think it makes us both a lot stronger. Like, I think, Mark, kind of what I'm hearing from you is your team is coming a long way away from you, kind of shielding you from stuff. They're taking on stuff without having to be asked. And it sounds like a great evolution. I see the same thing when the right people look at it as opportunity.
But I think it's important, and you kind of really hit the nail on the head. You as the leader, you are this is your baby, right? This is your company to manage and control. And a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we have this tendency to hold our baby tight, right? It's just like when you have a newborn, you don't want to pass it off to like the random person at the, the baby shower, and oh yeah, or like, at the first year, the first couple weeks that you bring this baby home.
Oh, you'd
But
have
at the
fun in
same
the
time
South.
too,
If you're like that with the baby, oh, it's tough. In the South, I mean, every one of these people will just get all up in your baby's face around here.
well, and see, I'm
Yeah.
always very much the complete opposite. I'm like, here you go, here you go, here you go, because I want to get my baby comfortable
Yeah.
not being so tight knit. And I think a lot of that also deals within your own business.
Yeah.
Is that if you
Good.
aren't putting that trust in certain leaders and going, I'm actually going to give this to you, right? Here's the playbook on making sure this is how it's done. This is something that you can reference back on, but this is you. Like, don't come to me with this problem. And my staff actually get upset now when we have members, employees, drivers, helpers, that come to me instead of going to the operations. They'll actually get mad. Like my operations manager, she's a tough cookie, and she will go, why did you go to Mark? I already gave you the answer. Like, and that answer is final. There's no reason that you have to go and bother him when he's got other stuff to do. And I like that. And I praise you for that. And I think that's fantastic.
It's making everybody else stronger.
Well, for sure. And what it starts doing is it's making sure that those guys aren't bothering me with like a bunch of BS. I mean, I always tell most of our drivers, listen, guys, like, before me, you have to figure out an answer. If I wasn't here, you're going to have to figure out that answer. So why are you coming to me with the most common question that I know you can find the answer to? If you just talk it out loud and ask yourself, what would Mark do? No, I'm joking. But like, most we're like, no, that's okay. But that's the situation that you run into. So, but anyways,
Is that a new
I like
Movified
that. I
shirt?
think no, this is one of the classics. This is the classics.
I'm saying, is that the next one? Is what would Mark do?
What would Mark do? What would Mark not do? What would Mark not do? And then you just kind of just make sure you do all of that. So no, but it's interesting. Does your wife tell you, Steven, turn it off?
Yeah. It's never in a good. It's never in a good. Yeah. I get it sometimes. I get the turn off boss mode, and usually she's right. I'll come in straight from having me telling people what to do, going in orders, and I'm coming in, I'm looking at the sink, and I'm going, what is this? And she'll hit me with it. Turn off boss mode, Steven. And I'm like, you're right. I'm sorry. Switch it. Switch it real quick. But yeah, she's pretty good about saying it in a nice way, I guess.
Nice. I think that's important. That was a conversation a bunch of us were having earlier, where to be able to have that partnership with your loved one, and it being told, hey, all right, like it's time to turn it off. All right. So, but listen, I want to kind of flip. I want to flip this script here. I kind of want to move on because we were just mentioning two important things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. One was the importance of seeing a return, right? And I've brought this up, and if everybody's paying attention to some of the ATA moving and storage conference videos that are slowly being rolled out here on the interviews, one of the biggest things that I find so important is, are you getting a return on going to these events? There's so many times where you get individuals that, oh, this was so boring. I didn't really meet anybody. I really didn't get any solid connections. I didn't walk away with learning anything. I'm probably not going to attend the next year. I also see that with trade shows. And I was just at a very large trade show where you talk to certain vendors that are there, or I remember calling a couple vendors that I didn't see on the original list, that I had met last fall, saying, oh, are you coming out? Well, I see you again this week coming up. And a lot of them saying, nah, it just didn't work for me. Oh, I didn't really see a return. And those two aspects are just so important of, am I building the relationships? Am I making sure that I have a focus point? Like what's my goal? And I feel like, was it you, Steven, that brought this up, where somebody in our group had said, when I go to a conference and I have the ability to find the vendors that are going to be there and the actual individuals that are attending. I write down a list of who I want to connect with, who do I want to build that relationship with, and that is my goal. So when I'm going to this conference, I go, hey, I want to meet Billy Bob. I want to meet John Smith. I want to meet this company here or that company there, and make sure that I've had that connection. Whether, and to me, because then you at least have some type of objective or some type of goal that's walking out of there. I remember originally going to trade shows and just showing up, right? Like, here's your trade show.
Oh no,
Okay, I got a bunch of
I've
pens, I
done the
got some
same thing.
pamphlets,
Yeah.
and you're just hoping for the best. And as you learn, I remember someone from the event that helped coordinate it going, you know what, Mark, you don't have the craziest booth. It's not like this massive canopies and big background stuff, but there are so many people that keep coming by your booth. And I see so many people around this trade show carrying the Salmon's Moving and Storage tote bags around. And that was because we made it exciting, right? We had a kid spinning wheel. We had an adult spinning wheel. We had prizes. We kept it exciting. My son came for 2 out of the 4 days.
Yeah, I got going on over here. Right.
Yeah, for sure. We went and spent a little bit more, and we're talking like a couple cents more on our tote bags to make sure that they were big enough than the standard ones that a lot of people were handing out. Because this way, people that had a bag already were putting our bags inside of it, right? And so I'd always make a joke saying, well, if you take this bag around, you better model it well. You better be smiling and walking around with the bag. And people loved it, right? We used rubber duckies this time. I spent, $30 on Amazon, bought 100 duckies. And that was for the kids spinning wheel. When they spun that wheel, right? If they didn't land on the duck, I said, well, if you give me 10 jumping jacks, you get a duck. And I mean, these kids
You're
are doing
getting a
jumping back
commotion,
to
and
the parents,
other kids are looking, right? Other parents are looking, right?
and it brings over that conversation, right? And then you get them with the hook. What are you doing? But I take it to another level. I actually make sure that, when people are at the booth in our team, I, as the owner, am going with around to visit all the vendors. And I'm looking for those type of vendors that I'm going to build a connection with. I'm looking for interior designers. I'm looking for contractors. I'm looking for construction companies. I'm looking for HVAC companies. I'm looking for unofficial sponsors that are going to go out there. And first of all, I'm asking, how was your move in? Did you have a good experience getting everything in? How was that? I'm looking at the layout. I'm looking for the setup. And then I'm saying, have you found someone to help you move out? Because we'll have trucks here and they'll be ready to go to help you on the move out days if you want, and we can give you a flat rate price. Where are you moving to? Where's your stuff going to?
Who doesn't want that after sitting at a conference for a while with the long walks that they got to deal with?
So I've automatically, if I can sign up anywhere from 3 to 5 of them on a different flat rate, I paid for my entire booth space. So anything on top of that, the leads that I've generated at the event are like gravy because I've already paid for based on the vendors that I've helped move back. I've also talked to the vendors, giving them service and advertising myself to build those relationships, saying this is what we can do.
So let's run it back. All right. First stage, right? You are getting the list of who's there, whether it be a conference that you're going to or a trade show. You want to know who's there. You're reviewing that and you're highlighting key people and you're looking into people on the internet. So that's your step one as you're gauging the event, right? And then you're saying, I'm gonna keep following here, but then you're saying, hey, during this setup time is very key for me, right? The setup time is when I'm gonna be able to, one, be around to tell people that don't like to do it, that need movers doing it, right? And two, find your unofficial sponsorships. Find people that can send people to your booth, right? Find people that can be relationships long-term to pay for the event. So you're doing those key things before the event even starts, for what I'm hearing, right?
You're right. You're right on the same path here. So what you have to think about when you're going to a conference or even setting up a trade show is, are you going to be the loudest person in the room?
Yep.
Like,
are you bringing the circus to town? Right.
Am I bringing the circus to town? Whether it comes to what's my booth going to look like?
Yeah.
Is it going to have enough information on there? And also, when I am getting items to hand out, I make sure there's a QR code on there that's trackable. So I'm using like a QR generator that I have an account for that has a trackable QR code on there so that I can actually see, are people going to scan this? Are they going to walk away with this? And when you say, here you go, like take this, enjoy it, they might scan that. And I want it to go to a landing page that maybe even has that tote bag on there. Right. And I usually always have a cool little saying on there. We treat your tomatoes like we treat your furniture, right? As careful as possible. And on a koozie, we
Are you
keep your
giving? Is
drinks.
that the saying? Are you giving that to us right here?
Yeah, I'm not verbatim, but generally, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to come
Is
up
it
with like a
trademark?
chat
Because it was
GPT.
pretty good.
No, it's not true.
All
It's
right.
not. No, it's not. But so don't use it.
Well,
But you can.
Andrew's gonna have a website tomorrow.
Probably. I'll sell him the domain name. It's $25,000. No problem.
Shout out Detroit.
That's right. Shout out professionalmovers.com. And so, but then on the flip side, when you're at a conference and you are planning on meeting certain individuals that you have sectioned out or a vendor, do some research, right? To take some time, right? Like find out who your crowd's going to be and then make sure you have a good pitch, right? And you can take all of that stuff. You can take the person's information down. You can use things like Grok. You can use things like ChatGPT and write down these people and say, give me like a 30-second elevator pitch. This is who I want to talk to. This is kind of what I will present to. And then repeat in your head, read it over and over and over again. So you have some time, read it out loud, right? So you're not throwing those buts and those ands and those ums when you're going to have that conversation, and stand up and look professional. Right? You are selling your service, you are selling your brand, you are selling your, who you are, whether it's at a conference and you're just meeting a peer or somebody you want to work with, or you are trying to sell your service at a trade show.
Smile. Walk around, leave your booth.
Smile.
If nobody's coming to your booth, get out there. Right?
That's right.
Get out there with your shirt, just talk. But on the same thing with attending these things, right? Human nature says to go stay at a hotel, go sleep an extra hour, right? Or let me take this work call and just sit in here for 3 hours this morning because you can find enough work to catch up on. But you paid a lot of money to be there to not work in the room. So always remember why you went there, right? And I look for the same things. Don't get caught up in the people talking about the Rolexes there. Right? Find the people that are there. Do your research. Like if you're at a conference, right? Do your research on who's there and who can teach you something. What are my weaknesses? Social media. I'm going for Mark. I've heard him talk. He's a speaker on social media on different events. Well, he's going to be at this event. I'm pretty weak there. I can't wait to go talk to him. Just have those because human nature is going to tell you to stay in the dang room and find work, right? It's really, what did you go there? I, on purpose, again, hyper focus. Guys, I'm going to the Legends retreat this week, so you'll probably hear this after. But know that I don't have anything. I'm gonna fire it up. I'm gonna have a great speech. But I go a day early because I have a routine, kind of like Mark has. He has a routine where he looks through his stuff. I get away from office. I get away from family. I have a travel day. Unfortunately, Memphis double flies everywhere. I think, Mark, you have to deal with it a lot, along travel too, when you come over here. But we have a double flight, a lot of places. So I get a lot of time where I am going to talk. I'm going to go through who are the people that I'm there to meet. Who are the people that I can learn from? Who are the people that I can influence my business, right? And I'm gonna have my talk or whatever it is, and that whole day in the town, I'll go to the hotel, and that's for that. It's for that speech, right? And it's for that talk, or it's for that where I'm narrowing down. What am I gonna say to Larry O'Toole? I have an opportunity to speak to him, right? What are all these things I want to ask him? What are all these things I want to ask Tommy Mello if I get an opportunity? I've yet to be left in a room with him other than taking a picture, enough to have that opportunity, but I'm ready. Boy, am I ready, right? Tommy, call me if you're watching Movified for some reason.
What do you mean? He's an active follower. He's an active follower. Well, that was what happened to me at the retreat, where he, someone like Tommy, I wanted to have on the podcast, and he came out prior to, I think, speaking or just after speaking at one of the retreats, talking to Kick Charge Creative, Dan Antonelli. And
Another great guy.
was another fantastic guy. Both of them have been on the podcast, but it was because that happened that I quickly grabbed Tommy. I took my shot and said, "Do you have 15 minutes?" No questions figured out. I had no idea what I was prepared to talk with Tommy about. And it turned out to be such an amazing, 20 minutes to sit down with him and have these chats. And it was really just like, what are some of the key things that you do so well? And I really appreciate it. I want him back on here. So for round 2. But you're right, like having that time and each person to their own vice, right? Like find what works for you, stick to it, and just be prepared. You will get the most out of those types of conferences, those types of trade shows, those type of events.
What's up, guys? Austin Yarbrough here, and this is your invitation to the Movers and Shakers event, April 28th, April 29th. I'm putting in the work right now so you can have the best event of your life. It's gonna be life-changing, it's gonna be amazing, and I'm just gonna be there to help, and you're gonna join the new family. This next family is here for you, and you're gonna be here for them. April 28th, April 29th. Get your tickets, let's go.
When you prepare yourself for what you want, what's your objective? What is your goal that you want out of this? Right?
Another thing to add too is document every dollar. As painful as it is, document every dollar. Right. Part of my things to do on every trip is Elaine gives me, this is what all we had. This is what all you charged. Right. And I want to get the ROI. Right. So that's a driver for me to do those things that I was there to learn about. Right. I'm overwhelmed with what it is. Well, I got to get ROI. I can't be overwhelmed. Let me do this thing to get that ROI back at least first. Right. And that's just a thing that I keep a checkpoint. Every one of my trips, every dollar I spend, I want to know what my ROI is. And that gets addicting, right? Because you start, Mark knows how I travel on these things. I'm staying at the nicer hotel next door, right? I'm getting a little bit of a finer steak. I enjoy traveling, and it gives me a better goal to get better ROI. I like spending those dollars because then I'm going, okay, I gotta get that back. I gotta get that back times over. Right. So I like the challenge of myself in that.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Well, this has been great. This our nighttime sessions are always fantastic.
Yeah, I'm bougie traveler is what we learned. I'm a bougie type of kid.
You're a bougie traveler. One of the highlights of Nashville, though, I have to admit, was scooting around Broadway Street on the Lime bikes with you.
Oh, I love
that.
You saw that love.
That was so much fun.
Man, we hit the town. The wind was in my little bit of hair I got left. We were rolling, hitting down Broadway with them. I mean, it was a good. We had a really good time. It was a good moment.
Yeah, those are some fantastic days, and those are the memories that we want you to make. Don't feel shy, and if you feel shy and you see someone like myself or Stephen Reed at an event, you just latch onto us, and we'll take you out, and we'll make sure we'll talk, and we'll make sure that you are introduced to the right people, and we'll make sure that happens. We have no problem going up to someone and saying hi.
One of the ways I'm like, and I'll keep adding them as long as you give me the room too. Mark will be here all night, but challenge yourself. Like before I publicly spoke to anybody, I made myself speak places out of town to strangers I don't know because I could just ignore them. Right. I could just block them out of my life just as easy as I got in. So go challenge yourself to be uncomfortable when you're at these trade shows. Go be somebody different. Go challenge yourself to be like, get out of your comfort zone and go speak on something. If you're not somebody that walks in the middle of a circle, well, have it on your list to go do, right? Because that's the time to do it. Because there's nobody that remembers you after. They meet so many people.
Listen, one of the best things that Reagan Weiss even said to both of us was to go take some fun improv classes, some fun acting classes. Like if on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night, that you just search your local community. There's got to be something for adult acting classes to check in there. Go see a Toastmasters. Go visit a BNI. Go visit some of these breakfast networking groups, whether it's your local chamber or something, or like Steven, go look at like a trade show that maybe is at an hour. Like, it's a 1 day or 2 day trade show that's an hour out of your area, and you are maybe even looking to expand into that new circle of community and do a trade show there and just bring it. Like bring the energy, totally get out of your comfort zone. You might never see those people. It might be a total fail. And guess what? Well, it wasn't in your local community. At least you're outside the community.
You practice?
But yeah, it's a good approach. It's
help
a good
Mark
trial,
out.
right?
Right. He'd love to have a hand on the other side of
Yeah.
that trade show. Right. So
sure.
ask Mark, when's the next trade show? Come give him a hand, learn from the best. All right.
Or be a guest. Be a guest on the podcast.
Come on
Message me.
Yep. Message Mark on the DMs.
For sure. To sign off on this, if any of this stuff resonated with you, whether we were talking about how you let me pointy pens it. You, that's four finger pass off. You. If this resonated with you on trying to balance your time, or you're looking to take a vacation, or you're just trying to figure out and you don't know how to get there, send us some of your concerns. Send us like what some of those questions are. And if you are doing it and you're killing it in that aspect, share some of those wins, share some of those secrets in the comments below. And we'd love to learn more about that. And same with the trade show. You got trade show or conference secrets. I mean, we didn't even hit one of the big ones that I love doing. And I'm going to finish off with this one, Stephen. And we can't go more on a tangent on here. It's funny. We both said to each other, "Whoa, we're gonna have like a 30-minute quick podcast. We just want to kind of touch on a couple subjects, and this is what happens when you put us together, and we kind of get on a roll." One of the biggest things, this is like the hidden secret that I learned at one of the Titan retreats that I started doing, was if I really wanted to get someone's contact information, or if I was meeting. So if let's say I really wanted to meet Stephen Reed.
Oh, are we getting a bonus Mark Creeper?
That's right.
Yeah. Stalking skills.
You go up to someone, hey Steven, how's it going? Da 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 da. Do your little intro, start chatting, and then say, hey, you know what? Let's go take a quick selfie. And then snap that selfie and go, hey, what was your phone number? So I can text you the photo. And this way we can just keep it in photo. Now I have Stephen Reed's phone number. I've texted him. I can go back into my text messages and do follow-ups. I can now follow up on LinkedIn. Hey, Stephen, here's the photo. Had a great time. Like now the contacts are endless. And then you can try and do your approach. Hey, Stephen, I heard you're located in Memphis. Oh, hey, I heard you have this company called Ready Rolls. I'm looking for a VA. Da, 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 da. Right? So like that is .com. That is sometimes like you're like a best in. And this way, I also what I love is I save that photo as their profile, so that even if I was meeting somewhere, maybe it wasn't someone that indirectly that I wanted to network with, but I want to build my network. I have those photos. Now at least I can pull it up and go, oh, right, that was so-and-so that I met. Oh, that was her. She's amazing. She has this company, or he has that company. And I can have that as a reference point.
That's I gotta add an old school sales thing on cell phones too.
This guy was muted. I'm joking.
Nope. I took it off. Nope. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that. All right, it's just an old school sales tactic when you're asking. Now, Mark's is better. It's a little more upfront. But here's the old school mattress salesman that they teach you. If you ask for somebody's cell phone, right? Don't ever look at them after the cell phone. So you do it fast after you say you have your notebook or your phone, right? And you say, hey, Mark, all right, and what's your cell phone? Notice how I'm not looking at Mark at all. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to look at this pen. I'm going to look at this tab, right? And that's when you get the number. As soon as you look up, you're giving Mark space to be like, yeah, I don't do the cell phone thing. Just that's a tidbit I learned, and it works. You don't have to
That's
ask that too much of moving. They give you your cell phone, but on that side, it's just a tidbit. And Mark's is better, a little more ethical. Take a selfie. Everybody loves the picture, and you remember them on that side. But otherwise, do the opposite and just don't look at them.
Right. But the cool thing is too, is when you're getting those selfie photos, now you take those, you get you back from your trip, you add those selfie photos, you tag that person. Hey, I was just at this conference and hey, it was so pleasure to meet. Da, 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 da. Now you're taking all these individuals. Those individuals are now tagged. They see that pop up on their feed. They're commenting. Like it's a domino.
And then you got people that meet through the comments. Like, okay, hey, I bet you that's you. Oh, cool. I didn't know we could connect. And I did that at the Titan retreat, the selfie thing. I should have done that at ATA.
Yeah, I don't think we did that enough.
Thanks for reminding me before the legends. Guys, I'm coming for the cell phone in a selfie manner.
That's right.
Dun dun dun.
Right.
If you're watching this, I may have already gotten it. Dun dun dun.
I love it. All right, everybody. And that
if anybody listens to our last 5 minutes, we don't think you do. So we'll see if anybody hears it.
That's right. We're gonna see who paid attention. Let's find out. Anyways.
Maybe I can get a couple of guys and do a show with you next week while I'm there. I'll try to get it going.
Yeah, that'd be great. Message me. Should bring a mic along. We'll just do it right there. Just have a group around a mic, and we'll just have a quick podcast meeting right there. I'll tell for and those who probably watching this will be airing the following Wednesday or a couple Wednesdays after. So
we got so much good episodes at ATA. This was on a little delay.
Yeah, but that's great. Everybody, stay Movified. Have a great week. Until next time.